You need to hear this. And I will necessarily not apologize for being half naked, but it's damn hot in Mumbai and there's no rain. So take whatever you want with it. Most people think that success is about discipline or working more hours. And sure, that will get you to the top 10%. And I'm nobody to preach about success. Lord knows that I'm not yet successful as I would want to. But I've just noticed that to reach the top 1%, the rules are completely different. I was once doing multiple things and I thought I was a failure because none of those multiple things ever came to fruition. And today, I wish I was a multimillionaire investor, board member, advisor to a $2 billion industry, but I didn't get there. And I just kind of backtracked myself as to why I was not able to kind of be successful, even though there were people around me who just kept on telling me that if you compare me to somebody else, let's say to another person, I can hypothetically eat them alive because I had a way of speaking. But I was too lazy for it. And I still am kind of lazy. So instead of me giving myself this big old victim card to play and giving me this motivational fluff, I'm just gonna brainstorm some ideas, or I have brainstorm ideas, and I'm just gonna share some things that might interest you or might tickle a neuron in your brain to do something better with your life. So I'm nobody to preach, I'm nobody to tell anything or say anything on this regard, but I have something to say, and by God, I will say it. So here it goes. I'm going to share five things, and I'm not going to lie, I compiled these things through an AI, which kind of helped me save my time because ultimately my goal is to speak better. And these five things that just the AI compiled together is basically you have to start doing hard things that you have been avoiding. And I'm just not going to go linear or in a linear way as how many people go. I'm just gonna just make it a full blast on all you people. I'm just gonna come over you people hypothetically with all my ideas. So I'm just gonna share a few principles. Principle number one, you need to trap yourself. And there's a quick history lesson. In 19 or in 1519, a Spanish conqueror, Hernán Cortés, landed on the shores of Mexico within a few hundred men, or with a few hundred men, they were there to conquer the Aztec Empire. Now they are outnumbered in an unknown land, facing impossible odds. Now just guess, what did he do to make sure his troops had no option but to win? Some of you might already know the story. Cortes ordered them to sink the ships. There was no going back, no retreat, no surrender. That's exactly what we need to do in our lives because when we focus on plan A doesn't work, then you move on to plan B, and then you try to make plan A work, and the cycle just keeps on repeating. In behavioral design, these are called forcing functions. The constraints that conquer you and force you into growth are the same constraints that you can set for yourself as well. First one is public commitment. I know speaking things out without you actually completing it is kind of not what I lean towards. But telling people what you're going to do, announcing it, kind of creates a social pressure. And it's one of the oldest motivators on this earth. Tell a girl to not do something and they'll do it. Tell a guy to not do something and they'll believe you. Another one is financial stakes. Pay before you feel ready. Like putting money down on that gym membership or that training course that you always wanted to take. One example of that acquisition was a financial stake. I've seen people who have spent a lot of money, and once the money is spent, they just have to make it successful. All in all, if they are not able to make it successful, at least get out at cost price. Another one is cut the access. Delete the app, block the site, stop watching porn. In short, if things distract you, you aren't available easily. It becomes a forcing function itself. Another one is time box. Give the task a hard window, 90 minutes. Ship something at the end of it. When retreat is not an option, hard things that seem impenetrable first become inevitable, as Thanos would say. This lets you overcome one thing everybody blames when they can't stay consistent. That's when principle number one, two, three comes into play. Do you know what that is? It's willpower. We have all had those days. It's 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m. You feel like it's going to be an amazing day. You're going to get so much work done today. You just have this innate feeling, and then it's 6, 7, or 8 a.m., and you have just renegotiated yourself on almost all the parts of that list. And then you feel like a failure. But you haven't. That's just how our brain works. One of the world's leading willpower researchers, his name is Roy Baumeister, ran a study that literally flipped the idea of discipline on its head. He brought people into his lab and put fresh baked cookies in front of them. Don't touch it, he said. The other half wasn't told anything, and after a while, some of them ate cookies, some of them didn't, diabetic, non diabetic, who knows. Both groups were given a set of impossible puzzles to solve, and now you're going to say, of course, I know where the story is going. Those with the willpower did better, but that's the twist. Those who resisted eating cookies gave up on puzzles 50 times faster. Our willpower isn't infinite. It's not like it just, it's a never ending cycle. It is like a fuel tank, it has a limited resource. Every decision you make and every distraction you fight ends up draining the tank. So by the evening, the tank's going to be empty, and that's why you feel like you failed. Not having willpower is not a sign of failure or weakness, it's just biology. Noah Lyles is the world's fastest man right now. He doesn't chase willpower or discipline, he engineers it. How? Well, he has ADHD. So he doesn't trust willpower, he trusts his internal rhythm. 6 days a week, same track, same playlist, same warm up, same bodily movements. When the gun goes off, he says, I'm not thinking, my body already knows what to do. That's not discipline, that's design. He's not fighting biology, he's using it. Pick one task that you have been avoiding for a while and lock the three variables time, place, and trigger. Let's say it's deep work and it's some work that you want to start doing, and it's always 9 a.m. on Thursday. And so 9 a.m. on a Thursday, do your deep work day. Show up at that same desk, same playlist, same phone, airplane mode, no Slack, no emails. Now you are on autopilot. That sounds terribly simple, right? But that's the point. Simple systems are the hardest to break. And that brings me to my story. I, as you know, I used to work in a call center, and the people who have already worked in a call center know how messed up it is. You just pray the moment your day starts, when will it end? How many breaks do I have left? How many hours do I have to fight through to make it through to another day? And the cycle repeats. And I used to always think to myself, what kind of life am I living? And I wanted to do a small course while I was working there, and I initially started doing this course. And that was through YouTube because being in a call center doesn't make you much money, or you can't save up much money because you have terrible, terrible co-workers. So Once the shift started, I'm just going, and the thoughts are going through my head. When will it end? When will it end? How many breaks do I have left? If there is an outage, I'm not getting calls. I was the happiest. While at the same time knowing that tomorrow I'm going to get double the calls. And at the end of the day, I used to come home. I used to start doing my course allegedly, but I had no focus. It just felt like I'm just throwing shit at a wall and hoping it sticks. Some of it did, some of it didn't. And the moment I was let go from this job, I kind of dived deep into this course that I was learning, and still I couldn't get it done. And a thought just hit me, and the thought was, man, you were working for a firm who did not give crap about you, and you were just on autopilot because you had to get it done. You did not think that this is not today, I'm not feeling well. You used to have those thoughts, but there were people to force you. You couldn't just leave for the day, because if you left for the day, tomorrow is just around the corner. There is no point in taking a holiday, right? And I used to think to myself, is that all you are? You are willing to work for a company who will pay you X amount while not getting your dreams filled. And when it comes to getting your dreams filled, you are playing at the worst possible level. This is why I want you to take the advantage of your mental algorithm. A psychologist, I don't know his name, studied students who were trying to exercise over Christmas break. He divided them into two groups. One group was told to set goals like, I want to work out more. And the other group was given something like, if then plan. So if X, do Y. If it's Monday at 7, then you go to the gym. The goal setters fail 62% of the time, but the if planners only fail 9% of the time. And that's how our mental algorithms work. If X, then Y. We avoid hard things because we are really trying to avoid is the emotion that comes from it. The frustration, the doubt, the discomfort, the uneasy feeling, the imposter syndrome. So your brain starts bargaining with you. The fix, run the algorithm, because the if then algorithm helps you see those emotional bargains as just data signals. You take out the drama, you take out the debate, and in your head, you just run the code. And here's what most people don't realize. Even with all these systems in place, there is one step that everyone makes, or everyone makes, that makes everything stick, is to outsource your decision. An Indian man called Atul Gawande is a famous surgeon, and he was curious about surgical errors. He found something very disturbing, that world class surgeons were making so many mistakes that were totally preventable. So he worked with the World Health Organization, and they developed a 19-step surgical list. Again, the steps. And you will think the list would be like a super technical list, right? No. It had the simplest things like confirm the patient's identity first, make sure all antibiotics are given, make sure that the right leg is going to be operated, so mark it so you don't chop it off, or you don't chop off the leg, the third leg, as I would say. That kind of stuff. When the hospital put this simple system of checklists in practice, post surgical compilations fell by 36% and death dropped by 47. Same surgeons, same skill, just a different checklist as a safety net when their cognitive load was speaking. That's the power of the system working for you. And the paradox here is that the better you get at mastering something, the more structured the system you will have to rely on. Checklists aren't for beginners, they are for experts, especially experts who do hard things. That's why pilots with 10,000 hours of flying still read the same checklist every single flight. The three checklists I love making. And yep, and this is my personal take for it in my life is to do list, to want list, and to be list. The to do list is an execution, to want to be list is about expansion, and to be list is about personal evolution. These checklists aren't about creating bureaucracy, they are about creating bandwidth for your brain so it can focus on what must be done when hard things arise. But even with the simplest system like checklist, there is still one problem. What happens if your brain tries to bypass the simple system entirely? What happens then? Well, you have a simple answer. You have to become the system. I've seen great musicians and great leaders and great spiritual masters, and they all have this one thing in common. Uh, Harvard researchers, I think, scanned brains of these Tibetan monks during their meditation sessions, and they found that all monks had their brain waves synchronized with each other across all individuals perfectly in rhythm. Now, these monks weren't trying to focus or they weren't trying to motivate themselves. They were obviously not trying to synchronize their brain, but their nervous system over time had evolved into developing this pattern. Years of repetition had given rise to this beautiful resonance, and they didn't need motivation to do it. So, what's the secret that these monks can teach us? Motivation doesn't drive repetition. Repetition drives motivation. When your brain can't predict the cadence, it starts craving the cue over time. You don't have to push yourself every day. Your biology starts to pull you forward. And that's how you become the person who does the hard things over and over again. But it almost seems effortless. So, this is the thought that I want to leave with you guys tonight. Tonight, don't just try to change your entire life. Design one tiny rule that changes your tomorrow. Build the right systems, and those systems will build the right you for you. And that's all I have to say. See, I'm sweating. So if you like this video, do what you want.